Hey everyone, welcome back to That's Not Bad. I'm Phil. Great to have you here. Today we've got a request from Jay, who lives in the UK. Thank you, Jay. Jay has asked me to have a look at Jasper Carrot and a short insurance claims segment. Jasper Carrot, I do know Jasper Carrot, although granted, I probably haven't watched any of his stuff for years, maybe. I remember when I was a lot younger, I'm sure he had stuff that was on network TV and NZ. This is, 80s and 90s maybe. I know he's British. I think he's British. He's not Irish. He's British. And for some reason, when I think of Jasper Carrot, I think of, and this is thanks to my father-in-law, who is a massive football guy. Does Jasper Carrot do a skit where he talks about Birmingham City football club and something to do with the score, but it's the way he says it. Was it with Birmingham City or something like that? I know this is really obscure, but whenever I hear of Jasper Carrot, I think of the skit that he supposedly did where he talks about Birmingham City. And whenever my father-in-law hears Jasper Carrot, he just comes out Birmingham City. And I'm like, oh my God. So that's a really obscure segue, but we'll have a look at this one that Jay sent through for insurance claims. Jasper Carrot, he's definitely a funny guy from memory, so this should be not too bad. And looking at the 4x3, this is obviously 80s or 90s, I'd say, looking at this material. Here we go.
And on bikes, you have accidents. And when you have an accident, your insurance company sends you a claim form, and it's a pretty standard claim form, and lots of stupid questions, like what's your name and where do you live? They've posted you the damn form, surely they know this. And on the back is a big empty space, and it says at the top, give in your own words a description of how the accident occurred. This is where you get your chance to write your version down, right? Probably totally different from everybody else's. What I'll do first is I'll do some British ones to give you the idea of how they go, okay? People ask me whether I've made these up myself, and honestly I haven't. These are genuinely what people have written on their claim forms when they've had an accident and sent into these insurance offices around the British Isles. Things like, leaving home for work, I drove out of my drive straight into a bus. The bus was 5 minutes early. I bumped into a lamppost which was obscured by human beings. Coming home, I drove into the wrong house and collided with a tree I haven't got. The accident was caused by me waving to the man I hit last week. I knocked over a man. He admitted it was his fault, had he'd been knocked over before. Now, I've got hundreds of them, hundreds. And then I was in Australia, and I was in Melbourne.
Well, here we go.
And I was reading the local paper, the Melbourne Age. And there was this article in the paper, and much to my amazement and sheer delight, I realised that they do exactly the same things in Australia as we do. Only much better. These are genuine Australian motor insurance claim form statements. The pedestrian had no idea which direction to run, so I ran over him. The bloke was all over the road. I had to swerve a number of times before I hit him. I told the police I was not injured, but on removing my hat, I found I had a fractured skull. I had been driving for 40 years when I fell asleep at the wheel.
Oh, that's good.
And I'll leave you tonight, if I may, with my all-time favourite. I saw a slow-moving, sad-faced old gentleman as he bounced off the bonnet of my car. Thank you, Stratford. Good night.
Oh, that was bloody good. And I look at this guy here and I think, shit, has he been around for forever? Like, did it, like, 80s and 90s? He's been around for a long time, this guy, but I just don't recall seeing much of him in recent years. Maybe has he retired? Is he just old and he's not performing? But yeah, just watching this short segment reminds me of the sort of humour that I seem to recall from him back in the days, maybe when he was at the height of his fame, possibly. But that was not too bad. Jay, thank you for sending through that short one. That was certainly worth checking out. And, again, as I've said before, I love finding older stuff where it's almost certain that I just haven't seen it. It hasn't had a chance to pop up on my social media feeds. I certainly haven't seen it streaming or on network TV. So, yeah, good stuff. Thank you for that. Keep the likes and subscribes coming in. All the recommendations obscure. Doesn't have to be comedy, by the way. We checked out RAF Quick Reaction Alert the other day. We've looked at all sorts of other shit. If it's interesting and you want a reaction to it, hey, flick it through. I'm very open-minded on that stuff. So thank you for that. Wherever you are in the world, stay safe. Take care. Cheers, guys.